shelter's doing, as well as the benefits of leaving residue on your pastures to help you cope with winter coldness and feeding, etc., etc. Without further ado, this is very cold. I'm going to hurry this up. This is the shelter we built. You can see on the left-hand side, we have the tires, and they also go around the back side. My advice, if I had to do it over again, I would just break down and spend a little bit of money and not use cheap tarps. We've had 3 windstorms where the winds kicked up to 65 miles an hour, and it just shredded these tarps. If you have to, or if you can, find a canvas tarp. But the only reason we're using tarps instead of any kind of lumber or whatnot is I didn't want to spend money on the lumber. I couldn't find any scrap lumber around here, so we used the tires. We've got T-posts down in the center of the tire stack every so often to secure the wall. And then, as you can see, I just used some wood that we cut down, chopped down, whatever, tied it together, and it's a really edified shelter. But it works. It does stay dry in there. And there's a black tub inside. I don't know if you can see it, but that's where their water is. The idea being, especially once we close this off, as we get closer to kidding and lambing season, and they need to lamb in a warm area, we're going to close this off. The body heat from the animals is supposed to keep the water from freezing, and it's worked a couple days, but the only problem, when the weather is below freezing during the daytime, the animals are moving around and grazing, the water still freezes over. So, lesson learned there. This brown block right here, this is a mineral and salt block. It's very important. It helps the animals maintain proper nutrition balance, as especially a beginning pasture is not going to have all the minerals that they're going to need. Out here, you see all the sheep. They're doing very, very well. None of them look underfed or anything like that. They love the winter time. The goats, not as much. Goats prefer summer. Sheep prefer winter. That's just the way it is. And that's why the goats dominate the shelter a little bit more, despite the sheep outweighing them by an average of 50 pounds each. But we have our electric fencing still up. It still works with the solar charger. Just make sure you're wiping off the panel so it still gets charged. Kind of common sense, but as long as it's not a really, really hard frost, I'm pretty sure it's just going to stay working, because our ground rod is going below the frost line, at least as of right now. If you're panning to the right here, you can kind of see our alleyway to get out to further parts of this field. Here's one side of it. Show people the benefits of residual. We've had approximately 2.5 to 3 inches of snow, and that still isn't going to deter the animals. Mostly because, and I'll give you a quick little demonstration, we have grass that's still popping through and it's still green. Gotta get the sheep over here. Out of the way so the sheep won't be afraid of me. But looking down here, this is stuff that the sheep and goats grazed about 2 months ago. Uncover the snow, we still got long blades of green grass. That's really important. Number 1, leaving this residual, or stockpile as we call it, helps insulate the ground so the ground stays warmer. The warmer the ground is, the longer this grass will stay in higher quality condition. Number 2, with the grass standing up like this, you see the blades are able to peek through to the sun. That means that this snow will melt a lot faster, and it's more available to some of your first time sheep and goats going through their first winter. If this wasn't here, like if you pan out over here to where the field behind us where they had corn this last year, all it is snow. There's nothing on that field, and so that ground is colder and the snowpack is much deeper and uniform. That sun is going to take a lot longer to get through it, and that's not really what you want. So you can see the goats here, they're eating through it and not really minding the snow. A lot of people, they don't think that goats will do very well in the snow. They do just fine. Because the grass with this cold weather really slows down its growth, we are very, very tight on how much we allow them to graze of fresh grass. But we do supplement with hay right now. Being a grazer, someone who focuses his whole farm on the animals grazing grass, my ultimate goal is to never have to feed hay. I should be able to go all winter without having to feed hay. There may be some bad summer droughts where I need to feed, but that's a different ball game. These goats, like I said, they don't like the winter as much, but you can see they're still nice and thick. They're getting plenty of feed. This is their, I guess you'd call it gestation season, breeding season. For the most part, Sid has shown us has ended. But the sheep, they're still in breeding season, and they are looking pretty good. During the winter time, God's design has it so that the winter is a thinning period where the animals go through kind of like a bodily cleansing. Just like humans go on a diet, animals try and fatten up in the fall, but then they get real lean through the winter. That's especially true with cattle. The cattle's frame grows, and then when the spring flush, the big grass growth, when the spring comes, the animals will fill out that frame. That's part of the design. It keeps the animals healthier, etc., etc. One of the tricky things with sheep and goats, if you have them lambing or kidding in December, you don't have that fresh grass growth to support that ewe or doe with her extra nutrient requirements so that she's able to give milk to her lamb or kid. So, being a grazer, the most profitable way to farm is to focus on the grass season. To lamb, to calve, to kid, around when the grass is growing its best. That pretty much does it. One last little fun tidbit. Make sure you don't pull your two-wheel drive truck out into the pasture when it's very sloshy and muddy, because it'll get stuck there and you'll have a snowstorm for 2 or 3 days. Hey, that's all for today. Hope you have a warm, wonderful Thanksgiving.